Welcome back. Sound, yeah, sound. Alright. Nice timing. Hey, Tyler. Please come back. I was always gonna come back at the time I was gonna come back, so your timing pretty good, because it had nothing to do with my return. Yeah. Oh, I was looking at some stuff and cleaning up inventory a bit here. The 30 bronze was itself made from pyrite and pure ferrite. Alright, we don't need to keep the rest of that stack. And the... Egg the Resurrected. Hello. Is the time to come back you are looking for, huh? So I don't know what we're gonna do about this base. Igeth. Oh, Igeth Resurrected. I completely mangled that. Sorry, Igeth. Fine, sir. Thank you. Always prefer to get it right. But I didn't even realize how I added a letter in the middle there. Yeah, the base is starting to break. It's, we can't really hang out here much. It just gets all flaky. No, so this is on PC. So it does look like at least all our hollow doors are hollow doors at the moment. And I haven't seen anything get messed up in the underwater part of the base. You read it as Algae, the Resurrected. I still think Alex Obscure, that's the name I mangled. Perhaps worse than any. Alexo B. Skewer will never... I will never forget mangling that one. Weekly quest line stopped again. Was wondering if it's done the same. Do you mean reached a cap or some sort of bug? It did complete. Completed and exited from the journal after killing enough sentinels. You can max it out and then that's just it. You know what? I'm gonna summon Fighter while I'm thinking about it so we don't end up back with I don't want to end up in the exotic and suddenly attacked by hostiles. So yeah, the first week didn't seem to have a cap, but the second week had a cap and the third week had a cap. So once you complete it, you're just done. There were notes on the development update, the one which our live update was based on, saying that they're looking into new ways to earn Quicksilver. So at some point in the near future, it should be possible to catch up. So if you haven't bought everything you want from the Quicksilver vendor, that should be coming. It'd still be possible. Missing a helmet so far. Yeah, I think I'm about 3,500 Quicksilver behind. That first week, I had a lot of trouble that first week. Was able to do the max the second and third weeks. Alright, let's check off these mission board missions and hop to a new system. All the statues. And the statues, at least the Diplo ones, they're not the same size. As we found out yesterday, the gold Diplo statue is taller than the silver Diplo statue. I don't know if the others were like that. Are they all sized that way? Bronze is smaller than silver, so on. Lurk you! Hey! Good lurk, waves and settles in. I hope you've had a good Friday so far. Lurk you, everybody. Anyone else just getting here? We are having a shorter stream today. We started at noon my time, and we're only going 4 hours, so about another 90 minutes or so. Not that I have much going on a Friday night. It ain't like that, but a few things that are pulling me away from this. So, yes, we'll wrap early tonight, and tomorrow will either be maybe starting Tomb Raider, doing that for a week, or maybe we'll not start that tomorrow. I don't know yet. Should probably get it installed tonight and then think on it, sleep on it. You spent the day in No Man's Sky, so yes, great day. What have you encountered anything cool today? Found a cool looking exotic a few minutes ago I hadn't seen before. Combination of parts, really compact and stubby for an exotic.
Well, what do we have here? You
Agatha,
must be a new
welcome
arrival.
aboard. Thank you for the follow. Glad you can join us. See, when you build, are there some items that place themselves without you hitting the F key? That place themselves? I am on PC, but I'm using a gamepad, so I haven't been using keyboard and mouse for the base building. But I don't believe there's anything that really place themselves. Can you... What are you seeing happen? More detail, please. What's an example? Attacked by a pack of tiny crabs. They ran you off the planet. I still haven't seen any of the predators that have had their behavior restored. Keep saying we were gonna pick a planet and just go running on one. I haven't done that yet. The system we're on, like, planet superheated gas pockets. Pockets, does that mean really brief? I don't know about these burning hot worlds. The tint on the screen is a bit discomforting. Let's jump to another system. You can get some quads anywhere. Well, we just traded one for a different one. I mean, you could only hold 6 ships. So we have, on this save, 3 exotics, one of which is a squid, and then 2 fighters and a hauler. But, I mean, we've encountered quite a few more exotics than that. You just can't have them all. I'd love to have a whole collection, though. You've been looking for a hauler? Are you looking for a particular configuration? Hi, Lamia. Good to see you. Got a squid and a fighter. Yeah. Yeah, I still prefer the fighters. The squids look cool. It was too unique to pass up, but like many of the exotics, I don't really enjoy flying them. I just like looking at them sometimes. Is why I wish we could have a whole showroom. Maybe we could keep ships that you buy somehow as cosmetic. Maybe you could have 6 functional ships and somehow have a showroom somewhere and you mark them as unavailable or just for show. Hey, Prestige, what's up? Prestige and Lamia popping up in the same minute? That's pretty cool. I don't know what the odds are. Hey, you guys. Ship trading? Ship trading would be cool. Not much in general is for gaming news. What did you say on Discord? You're playing Spider-Man, aren't you? Which you didn't expect to be playing and liking, but you're playing and liking? Is that right? More than one freighter? Yeah, that would be a way to do it. Booming Unruly. It is Vy'keen. Alright, so it's not the highest conflict level, but we're going anyways. The economy is booming, and you already have a good freighter. I don't know. We're going here. I realize the conflict level is 2 and not 3. We're still going. Shore Ozur. 3 planets, 2 moons. Those moons looks blue. Abandoned planet. Abandoned. Is abandoned exotic? It is, isn't it? No, yellow. Never mind. Abandoned is not exotic. Yeah. Still in Euclid. I want the worker. Ah, missed it. Drifted. Come on, picky thing. A glacial moon. Glacial moon. Paradise Planet. One of the cooler sounding names, but that doesn't mean they don't have crappy weather. We're gonna hit up the space station first and see if we can spot the other moon. Well, you're trying to 100% the game? What do you mean again, trophy-wise? Have you already done permadeath to the center? So Prestige, you like the cutscenes? Surprisingly good compared to others. The Batman's always been strong. The Arkham's been strong. That's the one you're missing. Permadeath Center. I was thinking we might try a permadeath sometime here. Not exactly. Higher potential for S in third tier conflict, as I understand. But you can still find them in other systems. There's just a slightly better chance. And if anyone knows different or better, please correct, because I'm just picking up this info and regurgitating it secondhand. Yeah, just found an alien multi-tool the other day. Hey, hang on, look at this fighter here. Look at this floating hawk. Yeah, I wish the color were different, but look at that. That's pretty sweet. It's actually not the... It's almost the variation I was looking for. So, that mosquito nose cockpit is kind of cool. I've gotten used to it, but it's not my ideal cockpit. The one that I like is... There's the fighter here with it. This cockpit kind of reminds me of the Y-Wing cockpit. But it's, yeah, man, I wish this thing were in a different color. Got the huge engine. Capital ships you only get from the battles in progress. It's the battle itself that can spawn in any system. Right, but isn't there a greater potential for the capital ship that spawns, which can spawn in any system, but if you're in a high conflict system, third tier conflict, isn't there a better chance of the capital ship that spawns being an S-class, higher class? Why do we go to high conflict systems? Just rephrasing the question, why do we go to high conflict systems? Indeed. They can spawn there too. Higher chance to spawn a battle. But there's definitely a timer element in the battles too, isn't there? If you've encountered a battle, a certain amount of time or a certain number of jumps before you'll encounter another. So the S-class, for freighters, are you saying it's just like ships? It's tied to the economy, not the conflict? See, I thought the freighters were somehow tied to the conflict. Regular ships, the class, the propensity for an S-class is tied to the economy. Slightly better chance in a greater, in a wealthier economy. I just thought it was conflict for freighters. You just kept reloading until it spawned as an S? Is that what happened? You got to a system where you saw a battle with a freighter you liked, and then you just quit and reloaded until it showed up as an S-class? Or how did that work? Nanites, nanites, nanites. I don't want any of those. Are they bloodthirsty little birdmans? Yeah. Bozzy, so best economy types and third tier conflict, best place to find an S-class freighter. That is what I have been told. Yes, that's part of why I thought the freighters were more tied to the conflict. But I don't know how accurate some of that info is. Trade post on another world. Ilmunder. I want to check out the Lush world. Let's see. Oddly, it's 34. Although they hold up to stack size 1,000 instead of stack size 500. Like a ship. Another ship. bluegrass. Bluegrass. Yeah, you may not need to upgrade that if you've got a 33 A-class. We lucked out with the 34 A-class. It also looks sweet. Call this sage grass. I wonder if it isn't most people's favorite. It's so pleasant. Okay, survey says mostly calm. That could still have some gnarly storms. Regular sentinels, copious everything. Cool looking rocks. Exotic freighters, that would be nice. Oh man, exotic freighters. We could really use some more grass colors, but not all colors would work. You have to think about the whole palette of stuff. If you just enabled a bunch of grass colors, we'd have some real abominations. Some things really don't work. They'd be horrid. So maybe more than 3 is in order, but some restraint is also in order. So, butterscotch, red and green. Green separate from the blue though, right? There are some greens, aren't there? This is really blue. Crunch! Sage, green, red, and butterscotch. They bring back warp upgrades for freighters. You may consider hunting for an S-class. How do you mean? Can you not install... You not mean hyperdrive upgrades? What do you mean? Warp upgrades for freighters? I keep waiting to find get attacked by a predatory something. Maybe it'll finally happen. What are you? What do you eat? Star brambles. Damn, I'm not made out of star brambles. Can you not install hyperdrive upgrades on freighters currently? They require a different type. Come on. Oh, you're being stubborn. save file editor lets you make that kind of an upgrade to the freighter, even though it's not supported right now. Interesting. Always curious what the boundaries of some of those editors are, what people have figured out, what variables can be tweaked. We're a long ways past game genies and whatnot. Frigate fuel haunts your dreams. Yeah, I remember Chronic saying a while back that the only thing in his freighter inventory is frigate fuel, and it didn't make any sense at the time. I understand it now. It still sounds like still sounds uncomfortable. Jelly, cooked jelly. Hello, freighter fuel. Just add tritium. What was the deal with the vendors? There was some talk about the vendors after the patch yesterday. Did they stabilize? Are places that used to sell certain things that changed? Are they consistently selling new inventories of stuff now? Did they revert? Is it randomizing? So you get things from your frigates by landing on them. Randomly? I really haven't done much with the fleet or the frigates. We could definitely recruit some more and send them off on something. Give you surplus, huh? You know, if you don't have a farm set up for something like, for example, Starbulb, little plants on lush planets that have Starbulbs as a secondary resource. Okay, we only got one Starbulb from that particular fern, but they're not bad for getting. You could go to a farm, make a farm and collect a whole bunch, hundreds and hundreds at a time, or you find a natural bramble. You don't really get that much at a time. If you find a cave on a lush world that has a plant growing all over it, like a lichen or something, inside a big cave, and it has Starbulb as a secondary, you can just stack it up. Carbon, Starbulb. Just dump the carbon, dump the carbon, dump the carbon, and collect the Starbulb. And you can do it on the surface too. Not quite as fast, but the stuff's all over. So if you don't feel like setting up a farm, or you're collecting Starbulbs or the like from brambles, and it's just going slow, you can actually build stacks up pretty fast, just getting it as a secondary resource. There are trees on lush worlds that have Starbulb as a secondary resource also. I don't know, we might see one of those. Muscrucium. Running south. Let's keep going south. So the world is lush and the weather is calm, but It's almost too calm. Some of the more extreme planets. If you could take the tint off the camera from the weather, minimize the storms that hit, those would be some of the more interesting and beautiful planets even. The fact that the weather is so extreme and it's a visual distortion is part of what makes them less pleasant to run around on. They can still be pleasant. Captain, you've got almost 2,500 in Borderlands 2. Don't have that many. I've got a few hundred. Super Lemon Haze. Fireflies. The fireflies. But you have 3,500 hours in this already, huh? Yeah, that's a lot. Don't expect an intervention from from other gamers. The Star Wars Galaxies might be the only game I have that many thousands of hours in a single game. I mean, I have some games that I've played some long games that I've played many times over. But yeah, even longish games like Dragon Age Origins, playing that 10 times, that's still, you know, that's 500 to 1,000 hours. I don't even know. I don't think I've played it all the way through 10 times, but maybe. What other long games we've played a bunch? How many Witcher 3 playthroughs do we have? I don't think we have 1,000 hours in Wild Hunt, but maybe 1,000 hours. I get you played Galaxies? Right on. I bring it up sometimes, and it's rare that I get any feedback from anyone else who played it. I got lost in that game. Played it from the fall of its first year till it shut down, but for a while there I had 6 accounts, and you know, needed a politician for the city, and needed different functions. Fozzie, thank you. Hey, cheers to you too. I like your bits. Thank you very much. Skyrim? Yeah, again, I've got hundreds and hundreds, but not thousands. 600 is rookie numbers. Well, I played my life away in Star Wars Galaxies, so I've got that. I don't know if you remember, I guess I only ever played on one server. I played on the Bria server, which was at one point, it was one of their beta servers that they kept, that they rolled over into a live server, rebooted as a live server. And it was always buggy as hell. And I know everyone says their server was the worst server, but if you go back to old screenshots of server load times in Star Wars Galaxies, generally, Bria was one of the last 3 servers to load. And they had, how many servers did they have back in the original version of that game? They had like 20 plus servers, and oh man, that game. You had a city called Snack Pack. All your characters were named after potato chips. And one of the first to fail. The game, one of the first to fail. Well, it failed before it failed. I had a lot of good times in game, even after the so-called combat upgrade. But far fewer after the NGE, the new game edition. Oh, the server, Bria, and one of the first to fall. Ah, so do you remember it then? Yes, one of the first to fail. Yeah, our city was on Talus, not the most interesting of planets, but I can remember which direction you turned coming out of the starport. I'm not sure I could say which direction, north, south, east, west it was, but out of Diric on Talus, we were just a couple thousand meters in one direction, Sin City, and I was not the original mayor of the city. And I sort of ended up inheriting the spot and taking care of the remnants of the guild in the city, which turned into another guild and then rebuilt into a metropolis, and it was awesome. It was on Tatooine. 'Cause you love Jawas. There's so much I miss about that game that has just never been recreated. The housing system I've been bringing up a lot recently while we were playing No Man's Sky. But the group system, the large groups, the pet system, the creature taming, the addition of jump to light speed and all the ship crafting and stuff was great. Oh man, the groups and the dancing, the musician class and the dancer class and the things they could do with bands and groups. The cantina scene in that game, oh man. Yeah, there is the MU. It is. SWGMU is still there. I think they have a lot of people on their so-called test server at any given time. I think they've got hundreds up to maybe even more than that. Kimbo Spice, hey, how you doing? But I never got as lost in a game as I did in that game. And no game that I I've had to put down because the game went away or I played it too much or it was just moved on. No game has left a gaping hole in my heart and soul like that one. That's just that'll never be fixed. That's an open wound forever. Getting force sensitive was a real challenge. So originally with the 32 professions, was it? And the hidden path of 5 with the holocron grind, I never unlocked force sensitive with that system. My second or third holocron was bioengineer, and at the time I did a what? No. In hindsight, yeah, I would have ground out 32 professions to do it. And I know someone who did. The first Jedi in our city and guild at the time, she got it on her 32nd profession she unlocked. All of them. She had to do all of them. Now, can I remember which the last one was? It wasn't a combat profession. I don't think it was politician. Kimbo, Spice, welcome aboard. Greetings, thank you for the follow. Hey, Luke. So, I had my swordsman creature handler, and then my second account was a Doc Pike, pikeman. She was awesome. She became my favorite character. That was also the first female character I ever made in a game deliberately, MMO, role-playing, whatever. And that was a weird experience at the time. First time it was weird to find people treating you differently in a game. Like, but I'm that guy too, but you're treating her differently. As I used to be a little schizophrenic in that game and play 2 keyboards and mice and screens and load up a brother-sister pair and play them both and have them get in arguments in public and try and play it up like they're 2 different people. It was fun. And with all the macros in that game, all the command line, it's such a powerful command line system and a heavy macro system. And so you really could. You could 2, 3, 4 box it. You could have your own little gang and Oh, the macros, the nested text files and macros calling macros calling macros. The things you could do in that game. Like a totally unattended buff bot that sits in a building that has a fee on it. And, oh man. Coolest things. No, the macro game was strong in that one. Yep. Still remember creature taming, creature handling was really some of my favorite stuff though. And I remember some of the very first creatures I tamed and how when the game got overhauled and sad things happened to creatures, from being turned into statues in your home, moving statues, to being turned into little genetic templates for future bioengineering in another system. And yeah, like 2 giant rancors, like a bull rancor. Like actually finding a bull rancor as a baby, how rare that is, and then having the creature taming skill to be able to tame said bull rancor baby. I mean, the odds of finding one of those. How much time spent on Dathomir running around in my red creature taming pants, trying not to get killed by things, waiting for rancor babies to pop out of lairs. Probably spent thousands of hours doing that. Thanks, that's a nice image. I remember it was a 4th of July, but I remember being like 500 meters from from the not a spaceport, but the little ones, you know what I'm saying, when you land on a remote outpost. What the hell are they called? The shuttle terminals, but not in the city, you know? All right, that, I feel horrible. Point is, I never had the best attachment luck, but, you know, I had my share of good attachments from time to time, and I liked farming Night Sisters, so I got a lot of lances and polearms with dots on them. And I once looted, not like a server best or anything, but I looted a nice long vibro axe and got a good slice on it, and then they put out their anti-decay kits as a vet reward, and got to keep that thing till they changed the game. But I remember the day, 4th of July, running around as a swordsman with my swordsman and my doc is on a macro healing my swordsman. And it was a Night Sister. It was either an Elder or what's the other Elder class? Not the Spider Clan, but there was a Night Sister, not the Queen, not Axvamin, not Axvamin, but just some random Night Sister that was high enough class to drop plus 25 attachments on the 4th of July, 500 meters from the little outpost. My swordsman, I cracked this skull of, maybe it was just an Elder, plus 25, two-handed sword, clothing attachment, and I was a swordsman. I was a swordsman creature handler, and I had never looted a plus 25 attachment, ever. Nor did I have one, nor could I afford one. And this is... moments. I mean, I have more moments I'll never forget in that game. And just random groups with friends stopping to just all dance, synchronized dancing in random places because you could. Sorry, we're playing No Man's Sky. I'm just rambling about galaxies, but since Igith showed up and knows the game, I don't get a chance to reminisce with someone who played it too often. Yeah, I don't mind crying on stream, but I try not to think too hard about how much I miss that game, because it does make me genuinely sad. And I do have thousands of screenshots. One of the sad things about it is I look back when I started playing the game, it was in 1024 by 768. I mean, it was horrible. I have screenshots, but oh god, they're so the images are so small, so small. Eventually, by the time I don't know what the highest res I ended up playing the game at was, but still back then it just we weren't playing in very high resolutions. I remember some of the people I met in that game, specific encounters, people I got to know, where I met them, how I met them, why, after grouping up for this or that or the other thing, we kept in touch. Oh, that game had the most epic rubber banding, server lag spikes, and rubber banding on vehicles. Do you remember, were you playing the day they introduced vehicles? I remember the first period of the game when I played, there weren't vehicles. And so going to meet up with someone at like a POI, a cave, could take 45 minutes. But anyways, on the day they launched vehicles, do you remember how they wouldn't, people couldn't store their vehicles? So people would spawn a speeder bike, and everybody had these cheap speeder bikes, but then you couldn't store them. And you could like respawn them, but you couldn't store them. So there were speeder bikes everywhere, and the space stations, all the terminals would just get spammed up outside with hundreds upon hundreds of slowly decaying, sparking, exploding, breaking down vehicles. That was the first day they launched vehicles. They forgot to make sure you could put them away.
Technology prepared. Units received. Radiation protection falling.
I thought I knew where it was from last time. Alright, what is it? Not even there. Where are you? Trying to learn where these are well enough that I don't need to mark the spots. Not succeeding. Just mark the spots.
Technology prepared.
Yeah, go for it. A comedy image made for No Man's Sky. Can't imagine what that is, but go for it.
Technology prepared. Radiation protection falling.
Remember trying to loot things that would say you were too far away when you're on top of the mob, and then boom, rubber bands.
Radiation protection
Yeah.
falling.
Yep. Can't explain that. The game has its fair share of things that makes no sense.
Technology prepared. Units received.
As for
Radiation protection
things that don't make sense, I prefer the Chewbacca defense. Why would an 8-foot-tall Wookiee choose to live on a planet with a bunch of 3-foot-tall Ewoks? That just don't make sense. You must have quit.
Technology prepared.
Yeah, look at the monkey.
Radiation protection falling. Technology prepared. Radiation protection falling.
Not that. I haven't charged this in a while. Oh, that was for me, between Star Wars and Empire. Well, then, we're out of carbon. Didn't see that coming. Yeah, well, if you figured that out, then you're probably right. Hey, Guardian. I didn't see you there. She just got there. That's alright, we're actually not... We started at noon and aren't going too long today. We're going about 45 minutes or so more. You're off to play PlayStation games without a PlayStation soon. You, checking out PlayStation Now? So I know that on the, out an emulator. The, I hope it works well. First of all, I know that you can do offline stuff now, but is the offline... I assume you can't do offline with the, you know, with other platforms besides the PS4 itself. I assume the offline mode with PlayStation Now only works on an actual PS4. It's not like they have emulators to run on the other hardware. And it has to be processed on the back end if you're running on incompatible hardware. And anyways, yeah, kind of know the answer. I just thinking about it. You've been playing RDR. 7-day free trial. Cool. When it first launched, I tried the trial. What did I try? I don't remember what I tried to load on it. A couple games. It's okay. Tried one of the Dead Islands. There's a reason we haven't played Dead Island here at all. Not that there's really been a call for it either, but the Dead Island games have this head bob. Games don't generally make me feel sick, but even with a field of view mod, I couldn't play Dead Island because of the head bob. It's just disorienting. I could not play it. Yeah, PlayStation Now generally, it's all streamed. You're basically just getting image captures, and your input is being transmitted, and it's all low latency enough, just barely low latency enough to work. But there's a new feature announced. Nope, you cannot. You can't turn off the head bob. I mean, unless something changed. Maybe the definitive edition, maybe when they re-released it, maybe there was a way to turn off the head bob. All I know is when I played it, you could not turn off the head bob. And I did searching, and all I could find was people saying increase the field of view. You could change the field of view, but that didn't... it minimized it by letting you see more around you, but it didn't eliminate the bob. Well, it'd be cool if I was wrong or they changed it or something, or if there was a proper mod to eliminate it. The game seemed like it had some, I don't know, wouldn't it be fun? Dead Island fun? Was it worth playing the two of them? Two of them, right? Riptide. PC version, Dead Island. You know, I'm not the authority on it. All I know is why I noped out of it. Helper program you could use to tweak the graphics.
Technology repaired.
All that. Well, we got our Starship launch fuel,
Protection.
and we really needed a bigger stack of that because we don't have a full stack already. I knew they made remastered versions, but I don't know anything about options that were available for head bob. That new you can tags stick. Tags are stickier. You can get in your exocraft now and not lose the things you tagged that used to disappear when you get in an exocraft. Buildings you can't see. It looks like you can tag those. Out of sight buildings you can tag now, and the waypoints don't disappear. They must have fixed that too. That's good. look at that. It's a little hauler with some... I thought it had green stripes on it. It was just rendering. Weird. Class hauler. Can we keep it? As soon as they give us more ship slots, we can pick up all the haulers and all the exotics and all the cute little shuttles. Believe. If you believe. Maybe if you believe, then it can happen soon. Tease us, game. You tease us so. You're happy we can have more than one now? So you've, I'm new to the game, only been playing since the beginning of August. Post next. Well, I never had to live a hard life in No Man's Sky. Quality of life. So instead of adding lots of features, they're working on polishing things up and which, for what it's worth, I hear even Apple did a round of with the latest major release for iOS that just came out. I know the world's still full of plenty of Apple haters, but as someone who's been fixing computers and gadgets for decades, I got to work with a bit of everything. And I discovered 8 years ago that I didn't actually hate Apple. I've only been making fun of them for the past few decades for, what were the reasons? It's because they were expensive. Anyways, after being in tech for decades, I realized that I was being absurdly silly, ragging on a product I didn't even really have experience with. I digress. I found I really like their software platform, especially the underlying Unix code base for it. And this iteration of iOS that just released, they happen to be on an Apple platform. I hear it's mostly quality of life improvements, actual performance improvements, stability improvements. Yeah. They don't have a reputation for focusing on quality of life when they do a major release. They usually want flashy things to show everyone. Look at our new feature that I guess somebody's gonna like. I just I'm pleased to hear about some basic improvements. Quality of life improvements. Also, I used Android from when Google took over the project, and still don't like it. I liked Android better when it was new than what it's become. Especially if we're gonna... especially UI. I think Google and Microsoft are tripping when it comes to UI these past few years. I don't know what they're doing. I'm okay with flat, but I think they're just head fully up ass. I don't understand Microsoft and Google, their UI decisions these past few years. I guess it's a little better than the few years before that, but... I don't like all of Apple's UI. They've made some horrible UI decisions over the years. But, yeah, I don't know. I've had a hard time just looking at Windows for years now. And Android? Ugh, I kind of cringe at, Sorry, I'm sure there's got its own fans. But it's so much more extensible, yeah. Yeah, I just stopped needing that a while ago. Time ago. Whoever decided to make the whole screen move in menus? You mean the, that? Thinking about that. Be taken out and shot twice. Double tap. Rule 2. So as I practice Rule 1, I remember the few times I've often forgotten Rule 1. I confuse Rule 2 with Rule 1. A nice sunset. You know what, Misbehave? I was hoping to show off more of the bugs, and the game crashed a few minutes after starting the stream. It couldn't handle the no body. Yeah, we started in Phantom mode, and then it... Happy Friday, Misbehave. I hope you're doing all right. And then we got to see you since we started at noon and we're wrapping probably 40 minutes or so. Early wrap today. Glad we got to see you. Some new creature noises would be a nice addition. I really like a few of them. I could do without a few of them, but a greater variety of creature noises. I think it'll happen again. Now the base may or may not have had something to do with it. The base was not rendering properly, and that's size related. Is it possible? Do you think it's possible that the base was... that the game state was so corrupted? Some related... I mean, the base corrupts without making the player's body parts disappear. And maybe the player's body parts disappearing had nothing to do with the memory state of the game or the base not being able to render properly around us at the time. Maybe. Can't actually go through the... Can't clip through the floor, but I can see through it. Hurrah! Interloper. No, I don't think I want your mission. I was hoping you might have a multi-tool to show us or something. Let's try another planet. Or go hit up that trade outpost and just see what ships are landing before we bail. Oh man, maxing out the words. How many are there for each dialect? Is it 1,600 or? I think I heard 1,600. 1K per faction. Did we already find that other moon? Did we look at the other moon? No. Unknown moon. Irradiated moon. And we're going to the frosty moon.
Hostile scan detected. Warning. Threat detected. Hostile ships approaching.
Well, sounds like there are thousands. Nice. It's always nice if you can get one in the opening attack. That stare down. Come on, turn around and come at me. Patrick Stewart. Would be a voice pack we'd all buy, wouldn't it? Where'd that fleet go? Wasn't I just looking at some ships and flying towards them and... No. Not. Yeah, misbehave. I did. It was pretty straightforward. You have to investigate a site and then kill sentinels. And there's a cap on it, so you can only kill so many sentinels before you're not allowed to get more credit. And then it's gone from your journal. So we did it yesterday, and it was really short. That dance, you saw the emote from it, though. The community event, the new emote this week is the dance that the Invisible Man did in the clip I posted in Discord. I think this... the Gex system? I'm not really ship hunting right now. But if we were in a Viking system, I might want to camp the trade post for a few and just see what fighters land. Yeah, the dance isn't bad. And the little new piece of furniture, a little info drone. Basically, you can get glyph for your base. Little glyph flying around. No Liara included, unfortunately. Huh, I don't know if I've seen too many explorers with a wing configuration like that. X-Wing Explorer. Huh.
Protection falling.
Viking. We are in a Viking system, you're right. I don't really feel like making notes, but there's a small fighter. A Jordan. There's what looks like a medium fighter. Small fighter. SC2. Hey, that is not the SC2. We all know where the SC2 is. The SC2 is right there. Just to be clear, you are an imposter. That looks like the hauler we saw in the ground a few minutes ago. I think. Hey, there's a heavy fighter coming in. Your freighter's called the Sandcrawler 1. Nice. Winged Nemesis. Alright. Pretty cool. You don't like it? Do you dislike everything about it? So I like the engine, the main engines, being the slats. The wing type, I think, is not my favorite wing type, but I got used to it while flying the other fighter I have, the blue one, Blizzard. The Y-wing cockpit, not my favorite cockpit, but not my least favorite. I kind of like the Y-wing cockpit. The fin on top, I like a lower profile vehicle. I mean, I like not having something, when I'm flying in third person, the least obstructive. That's a plus. But I could have something less obstructive. I go for these extra, I like these extra wing bits. They're probably my favorite wing attachments. Even prefer that to having none. You can get heavy fighters with nothing. No extra wing attachment, just those pods. They have to have these pods for all the storage, as we talked about before. Your multi-tool is an ion blaster. I haven't renamed mine because it came with such a cool name. Gravity Blaster? Mark 11? It doesn't even need a name change. Too bad it doesn't have a function. I mean, too bad it's not a Gravity Blaster. It's just called Gravity Blaster. The physics gun in Half-Life 2. Very first time, if you remember, you played Half-Life 2 and you remember your first time playing Half-Life 2 and your first time picking that thing up and throwing things around. And that was a special gaming experience. Crystal didn't change. We even went back to the system where we got it, and the crystal,
Protection falling.
the one on the space station is purple now. So, Master Batington. Is there fall damage? Tiny bit. Here. There is fall damage, but it's negligible. It's more for a sound. It makes a horrible sound, and it makes you feel like you hurt your ankles, but you don't really. So we're just gonna fall. Okay, that's higher than I meant to go, but crunch, and we just take a little bit of damage to our shields. That was it. And we should be dead. You should be dead, man. Hey, wait, there's another heavy. Hey, a heavy with tie wings. Well, maybe we saw that one in the space station. Is that the green one? It is. The floating hawk. That was the one you thought was gorgeous, huh? So, if this, I'd be tempted if it were a different engine configuration, and for me, I'd want a different engine color, and then I'd be tempted, even with that cockpit. Even though that's not my ideal cockpit, if it were a different color and engine, I think I'd be real tempted to pick it up. Fall damage is more harsh in survival and permadeath. That makes sense. Can you actually kill yourself falling? Can you get through your shields and take actual health damage in survival or permadeath? The ship painting is coming soon.
Ground protection falling.
So for you, if it had a tail fin, that would be color notwithstanding. That would be perfect if it had a tail fin. It's very possible. We've done it in survival. Huh. Well, if we ever do try a permadeath to get to the center here, which might be fun, you know, as I'm getting spacey on things to do now that we're kind of rolling in money and our main base is too big to keep building on, and we can start some more bases and try to get richer. But another thing to maybe do would be add that difficulty back in, that survival aspect back in, and have a real meaningful goal. Let's try to get to the center without dying, which means no putting a plasma grenade in our multi-tool, no matter what. If we play on permadeath, no plasma grenade in the multi-tool. This morning when everything was bugging out and I was trying to hotkey a few things, just hotkey a couple emotes, and I was binding keys, and so I had my keyboard and mouse out. I'm playing with the gamepad, but I had my keyboard and mouse out this morning. And I guess I was standing at my base, and I fired my last plasma grenade that was in the gun, and just... And I was already... The character had already spawned without a head. But then after reloading, it spawned with different body parts missing, and that's when I decided I was going to leave it there until the stream. That's why we started this stream with it all bugged out like that. Oh no, your first permadeath run ended 60 hours in. Jumped in your ship, jumped out, and immediately died. So not like a space death, but you just died getting out of your ship somehow. Look at the name on that. Reflection of Perfection. Hey, that's a name. Just died. Captain, did you ever play the Metal Gear games? Did you ever play Phantom Pain? Phantom Pain, companion system, buddy system. You can bring Quiet or D-Dog or D-Horse with you. And if you bring Quiet, so if you played it, you already know this. I'm just keep talking anyways. But what happened when you go out on a mission and you bring Quiet with you, after you jump out of the helicopter starts to take off, and then she drops out. So you have this buddy in the most recent one, and she's a sniper, and she'll come along with you and not wear any clothes, but it's plot relevant. She jumps out of the helicopter and then lands. Have you seen the movie Underworld? Do you remember the original Underworld, the first Underworld, where Celine walks off and drops 20 stories and then hits the ground, boom, and she just walks, and it's badass? Well, Quiet kind of does this thing like that. She drops out of the helicopter from whatever height the helicopter is at the point it's taken off, and then she drops out and slam and hits the ground, and she's just ready. She's ready. She's crouching with her sniper rifle ready to go. The reason I'm bringing it up is because of what you said, where you jumped in your ship, jumped out, and immediately died. And I have a clip, it's archived on YouTube somewhere, but your buddies can become severely injured if you let them get shot too much in combat, if you accidentally injure them, and they can be injured to the point where they have to be pulled from combat, and then they have to go into the med bay back at your base, and you can't even take them out on missions for a while. In other words, you fucked up and you let your companion get seriously injured if that happens. Well, one time we get out of the helicopter, and Quiet jumps out of the helicopter and clips past the point she's supposed to land, falls off a short little cliff, and just breaks her body into pieces. She instantly is mortally wounded. She just jumps out of the helicopter, breaks every bone in her body, and then has to be hauled off. Boss, what did you do? You injured your companion. And she was out of commission for days. I made way too big a deal out of that, but it was funny to see. Hey, I wonder if I know enough keywords to find it. Not that funny, but. Quiet takes a hit. That's it, isn't it? Quiet takes a hit. Video's not even playing right. It's just like it's playing at super speed here. I don't know what's going on. Never mind. Something else. That's not it. Sorry. I hate searching for my own old clips and videos and not being able to find them by name, and then it's like falling in a black hole. What was it? Was it this? Was it this? Well, maybe it was this. I'll see you guys, you know, in a year when I figure it out. I was working on it, but I found the wrong thing. And I have thousands of clips and videos up on YouTube.
Ground protection falling.
Hell. Ah, you know what? I have a link on our. Do you know what? There's a link on my website to it. I actually have a clip page on the website, and there should be a link to it somewhere there. All right, injured by terrain. I do have a link coming. Quiet fails her landing. There we go. This is so not going to be worth it. It only took me like 5 minutes to make a point out of it, but there it is. Why is it playing in super speed on this laptop? I don't know. Jump to one more system, see if we can't find a freighter to defend, or at least check out. Why did the green... Oh, there they are. Why did the green frigates disappear? I was going to say. There they are. Thought we passed an asteroid. It was so small. Is there an actual ship there? Yep. Lands. Nope. Not gonna happen. Just use the Phantom Pain. There were a few in that game. It was a triple entendre. Combat specialist, unregistered. His notes. Crew mood is jolly. That's good. Been damaged twice out of 8 expeditions. Well, at least it can complete expeditions. Sure. You're hired. Port special. That's a weak ass ship. Oh man. Look at that. Look at that rating. 1444. Notes: poorly lit internal compartments. They just can't even work in there. Crew mood is enthusiastic despite the rating. Support frigates. You found her the best thing to have? Are they? Support are the best things to send with the specialist frigates. Is that why it has no particular special... Okay, I'm still putting this together. Reduces the fuel cost, but that's not why you mean... Not why they're good, right? Do they prevent incidents? Is it really the fuel? Is that the reason? You guys hate making frigate fuel that much. You're all, yes, the fuel. I hate making frigate fuel. Anything to make less frigate fuel. Another support specialist. 281 successful encounters. Damaged more than half of the time, though. So is that just a, should that just be a red flag? Should I not recruit something that's been damaged more than half of the times it's been sent out? They can if they have that buff. Properly upgraded ones can reduce the duration of missions. You've gone on a 1-star 9-hour mission and used no fuel, huh? Wow. Let's jump somewhere. Flourishing critical. Viking. Yeah. Go. 2 planets. Mean star. Come on, big bucks, no whammies. Or no freighters at all. Tropical world. Leg Delta. Leg Delta. Sub-Zero. Arusa. Sub-Zero, where's the Scorpion planet? Purple grass? I'm betting it's probably red. Don't you think? When we get down there, it'll be red grass. Trombone. They're gonna, I have a feeling we're gonna get more shades of grass in the long run. Yeah, so nice lavender grass would be B-class. Do people mess, is that something a save editor does? Do people mess with the color of grass and make some funky, horrible, or is that not something you can tweak? Semiconductors, a quad for semiconductors? Or many major updates? You mean like next size, like Atlas, next, that size updates? I'm guessing one more major. Just totally random guess. I've only been playing for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, so don't listen to me. But my guess is one more major update. Got rings on planets now. Yeah, I never saw the ringless galaxy. I've been spoiled. I got to see all the next stuff. That was my first glimpse. Come into range! He is staying out of range. Come into range! He's still trying to get out of range. That is a bounty target is. Not wanna be got. Close to the station, aren't we, too? I don't want to alert the system authority. More than 6 planets in a system? That would be cool. Proper gas giants and fuel scoops with danger like turbulence. That would be neat. Just the... one time I went through a black hole, and then sitting in the rings of some planets, there was a bit of a distortion, a visual distortion that reminded me of the being caught in the effect of the black hole. It really started to freak me out when I saw it. Yeah, there we go. When everything starts to bend. I ended up in the middle of a ring one time and thought I was suddenly, like I had missed a black hole. I thought I was in a black hole system, and oh my god, I'm getting pulled in, and what the hell is going on? Let's get the hell out of here fast! Look, the rings are pretty cool. Even if they look weird from certain angles. Leia Delta. Close, yeah. Read that as Leia Delta. You know, if the game... Let's play with the game getting a couple major updates in the future. Let's say it eventually got a second engine overhaul. That's not really what happened with Next, is it? They didn't change the engine. They didn't even I don't know much about what the underlying code changes were, but I've heard everyone say that it looks so much better after Next. So I don't really know what they changed, but I assume they changed more than just a few textures. So how about an eventual overhaul? They could do some sort of a substantial engine update. That is a nice frost farm. Wow. For a natural spawn, that's pretty good. Look at that. There's like 50, 60 nodes over there. Wow. That's you can put a base. You can make a base computer and a teleporter next to that and not even have to set up your own frost farm. I can't see though. I can't see. Whoa. Okay. From the side, that looked crazy. You do that, you make bases for pure convenience. Well, since Next allows it, I do too. We have a couple bases like that, but we have this huge hydro farm now that produces pretty much everything that we need, although not really in measured quantities for producing any particular crafts. But I have 4 domes of frost, and we've got 16 domes that are filled right now, and we have an additional 6 domes that aren't even in use. And but look at this! Ah. I'm gonna collect it just to see how much it is. I'm already sitting on a bunch of glass in my inventory, and glass stuffed in a ship, and glass stuffed on the freighter, and I can't even use it all because now that the base is so big, it's starting to bug out. It's not like I'm gonna build the tower up another few stories. If anybody sees a cool ship fly by that I'm not paying attention to, not that you could in this storm, but if you hear or you see an exotic or something, let me know. I'll go running back. You think it's baby steps? Some of the lore and the abandoned buildings, that some of the stuff is just a framework for future further updates. Be neat. Getting into the game when it already had a lot of lore in place, I really enjoyed it. Seemed pretty fleshed out. A little repetitive. Well written, but with NPCs repeating themselves so often. But even with the variety of dialogue, you see a lot of it repeated. Atlas breaking down. That infestation you hope will get worse and worse and spread. Not doing this very methodically. But we're getting there. What do you think the total's gonna be?
Damage detected. Technology recharge. Technology recharge.
Yeah, this is a wild spawn for a natural spawn. We're gonna wrap in a couple minutes too. I know it's an early wrap. Started at noon. We're just going 4 hours today. Tomorrow, I think we'll get 5 or 6 tomorrow, and I think we'll play Tomb Raider, which is, you know, those games aren't the longest, 15, 20 hours. So We haven't played anything but No Man's Sky since the beginning of August. And maybe we'll still, maybe we won't start Tomb Raider tomorrow. I gotta think about it, get it installed. But, and maybe we'll come back to this and try a permadeath playthrough. I'm a little bummed about, not about base building in general, but that, just that it gets glitchy. I don't really mind that there are functional limits, practical limits on what you can build, but that it gets glitchy before you've I mean, it's like a soft cap on building. Not a hard cap. You can keep building, but your base will start to break. Well, ugh. I mean, ugh. I don't like the idea that we may need to deconstruct some of what's already built just to get it to stop glitching. Yeah, before they had a cap, I know it's much better than it used to be. And the terrain, now you can actually make changes to the terrain, a fair amount of changes to the terrain, and they'll stick. Well, here, I can't remember exactly what time you got here. Did you happen to catch a glimpse of the base that we're talking about? Let's teleport back to the hydro farm and we'll sign off there. You did. Okay. How much you got? What now? You did see it already. This is not the end of the stream you're looking for. Oh, how much frost bulbs? Thank you. Forgot. We got 1,000, 1,250, almost 1,500. Wow. That's gotta be the best one I've seen. Wild. And if it weren't for our hydro farm and the other bases, I already have it. Wild spawns, I'd have put one there. Because, damn, that's a nice spawn. That was a nice clip. Really went into the structure there. Alright, so even if we're playing Tomb Raider tomorrow, this won't be the end of No Man's Sky, but maybe instead of base building or random exploring, we'll come back to we'll try a permadeath run. I don't know what we're gonna do. You've heard some of the possibilities? I hope it would be refreshing to shake it up a little bit. Just, it's been years since I've played the same game for 7-8 weeks straight. If ever. I mean, I'm not even sure we played Wild Hunt for that long straight in 2015. This might be the single longest stretch playing a single game since I started on Twitch. Get that fighter. We saw it down in the storm, but I couldn't see it very clearly. See the colors. You'd like to see a permadeath run or runs? I've never even been to the center of the galaxy. I've never really tried to get moving in that direction quickly. And the way to do it is black holes now, right? I mean, you can't... The way they've changed the portal system, you can't just use glyphs. You get your glyphs and glyph near the center of the galaxy. That doesn't work anymore. But black holes, and someone said black holes tend to jump you about 10,000 light years. So if we were doing a permadeath run, glyphs are less important, but we'd want to get the Atlas quest line done probably as quickly as possible so we can see black holes and have some protection for going through black holes, and a ton of warp cells. So we would want hyperdrive mods as soon as possible, and for efficiency of warp jumps. And you know what, with even 3, do we just have 3? I think we just have 3 hyperdrive mods in this ship. with just 3 mods, you get 300% efficiency. And I don't know how many times you can jump on 5 cells, but you can jump, I don't know, is it 15 times? Is it 10? Is it 15? How many times can you jump on 5 cells? Captain, I thought I read something that said they had increased the distance. They'd actually increased it, that black holes are closer to 10,000 average now. You're saying 2. Is it possible they were 2 and they've been increased? Hey, Drigtall. Mods hyperdrives. Just close your eyes and you're there. Yeah, I mean, even with all the hyperdrive mods jumping 2,000 per, if you start somewhere, if you start 600,000 light years away and you're only jumping 2 per, that's a frightening number of jumps to reach the center. But 10,000 per, that's still a frightening number of black holes. And they don't even take you in a predictable direction. Yeah, that. As I was just wondering. So, I don't know. Even if we do a permadeath run, the odds of dying before getting to the center are greater than the odds of actually getting to the center. It would still be fun. The expectation is to die. We would start a permadeath save and not do base building because we'd expect to die. And if we find a really kick-ass ship, like if we find a system with a perfect fighter in it, then we get the damn code for the system and we load it up on this save and I can go get the ship on another save. And keep it. Stuff like that. All right, let's wrap here for today. And tomorrow, I think we'll finally tuck into a new game. As I pull back from that. The Tomb Raider, if we're playing 5-hour streams, we'll probably have 3 or 4 streams of that at least. So maybe Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Maybe wrap up Tomb Raider next weekend. Maybe come back to a bit of this. I'd love to get us get us back in the habit of playing a variety of things. Much as I love playing this and lots of this, and I've just been living in this. It was never really the plan to just play this forevermore, so. Thank you all for being awesome, for being here through the good times and bad. And I wanted to show you more of the disappearing player bug. We never did get to see that. Except at the very beginning of the stream. Maybe I'll if you're on Discord, look in the Game Shots channel. You can see a little more of it. I posted a link there. But I will see you all on the flip side. I think I have No Man's Sky on the schedule for tomorrow, and it will probably start Tomb Raider. Have a great Friday night, everyone. Thank you for the company, host love, the sub support, always. Cheers, everyone. Good night.